All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today we are diving headfirst into the World Economic Forum's Future of Jobs report to really understand the huge shifts heading for all of us in the workplace by 2030. You've probably felt it, right? The world of work is in the middle of this massive transformation, and it's being driven by pretty much everything from AI to climate change. So the big question is, what's really coming next? What does the data actually say? Okay, so before we can jump into which jobs are changing, we got to understand why. We need to look at these massive forces that are basically rewriting the rules for the whole global economy. So the report kind of boils it down to 5 big macro trends. These are the things reshaping, well, everything. Think of them like the main ingredients in a recipe for change, you know? You've got technology, economic shifts, the whole shebang. Now, all 5 of those are huge, for sure. But employers, they're pointing to one that stands way, way above the rest. A staggering 86% of them expect AI and new ways of processing information are going to fundamentally transform their business. So, yeah, this isn't just another trend on a list. This is the trend. It's seen as the single biggest driver of change coming our way. Okay, so we've got the why, but what about the what? What does this all actually mean for our jobs? This is where the numbers get really, really interesting. And honestly, maybe a little surprising. All right, let's get the scary number out of the way first, because it's the one that always makes the headlines. The report projects that by 2030, these huge structural changes, they're going to displace something like 92 million existing jobs around the world. That's the big, kind of frightening number you hear all the time. But, and this is a huge but, that is only half the picture. Because those exact same forces of change, they're also expected to create a whopping 170 million new jobs in all these emerging and growing fields. So you do the math on that, and what you get is a net growth of 78 million jobs globally. This is so important. The real story isn't about job loss. It's about a massive, massive job reshuffle, a complete transition in the kind of work we're all going to be doing. And this slide, it just perfectly lays out what that reshuffle looks like. I mean, look at this. On one side, you have this explosive growth in jobs driven by tech and the green transition. We're talking AI specialists, renewable energy engineers. And on the other side, well, it's the predictable decline of those routine clerical jobs that, frankly, automation is getting really good at, like bank tellers and data entry clerks. But here's something that gets totally lost in all the hype about tech jobs. When you look at just the raw numbers, the biggest growth is actually in these core economy jobs. We're talking an estimated 35 million new farm workers and huge, huge growth for delivery drivers, construction workers, salespeople. So the future isn't just about writing code. It's also about pouring concrete, growing crops, and having conversations. Okay, so this giant job reshuffle begs a really urgent question, right? If the jobs themselves are changing so much, what does that mean for the skills we need to actually do them? Well, according to employers, get this, nearly 40% of a worker's core skills are expected to change in just the next 5 years. Just stop and think about that for a second. Think about your own job. That means nearly half of the essential skills you use today might be out of date or at least significantly changed by 2030. Here's another way to wrap your head around the sheer scale of this. If the world's workforce was made up of 100 people, 59 of them would need training by 2030. So this isn't some niche issue for people in tech. No way. This is a global wake-up call for the vast majority of us. So what are the skills that are going to matter most? This is fascinating. Of course, you've got the technical stuff at the top. AI, big data, cybersecurity. No surprise there. But look what's right there with them. Uniquely human skills, creative thinking, resilience, flexibility, and agility. The message here is crystal clear. Success in the future isn't about being a tech person or a people person. It's about mastering both. And hey, for anyone out there who's worried that AI is just going to come in and replace every human skill we have, this chart is kind of a reality check. What it shows is that for the vast, vast majority of skills, today's generative AI has a really low ability to actually substitute for a human, especially when it comes to things that need complex judgment, emotional intelligence, or, just being a leader. Okay, so we have this massive job churn, this urgent need for new skills. So what are companies going to do about it? How are they planning to handle this new world of work? What's the actual game plan? Well, for most employers, the number one roadblock, the biggest thing holding their business back, it isn't the economy. It isn't even the tech itself. It's the skill gap. The problem isn't a lack of people. It's a mismatch between the skills they have in their workforce and the skills the future is demanding. So, to fix that, they've got a three-part strategy. Yeah, they're going to accelerate automation. And sure, they'll hire new people with the right skills. But look at the number one priority. A massive 85% of companies say their top strategy is to upskill their current workforce. Their biggest bet isn't on finding new people, it's on investing in the people they've already got. And really, that's the big takeaway from this whole report. The future of work isn't shaping up to be humans versus machines. It's about augmentation. It's about how we learn to work with technology to do our jobs better. So the question isn't if technology will change your job. The real question is, how are you going to work alongside it? Are you ready?